Hi guys.
Hello.
Lena, I'm trying to get them in here as quickly as possible. Sorry, guys. Jocelyn. Hi, Anthony.
Hello.
There we go. And Jasmine. Oh, I'm so mad right now with that stupid unemployment. Do you remember that everybody was supposed to get that extra 300?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was supposed to go into effect, right? And so I was owed 2 of them, so they sent it to me. And I got the notification in my mail, in like my email this morning at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So before 8, I went to the bank, tried to pull it out, and it said there's no money in there. So wait a minute. And so what's weird about it is that I went to pull it out of that Bank of America so I could put it in my Chase account, right? Well, my Chase account said that there was no funds in that to pull it out. I'm like, what? So when I pulled it out, the receipt said it gave me $500. And I looked at my EED account, it says I only have $88 left. I'm like, what the hell? You never gave me any money. So when I called my own bank, they said, well, you didn't have any money. There was no EDD money in there to begin with. That's why I didn't do that. I'm like, so the only receipt I really have is this piece of paper saying you were not, you didn't get the funds, but on EDD, and it says that I got it. I pulled it out of my bank. Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'm gonna figure out what that is. See you later. Okay, let me see, got one more in there. And then, of course, this whole morning, you have relatives that are a little psycho, and I mean really psycho. Anyone? I got a phone call saying, there's somebody in my house. I've got to go out there and check. So I go and check, and the fuse broke on the TV and the light. And she thought she heard this clicking noise, so that's what she thought they were inside of her house.
Oh my God.
Today's day is like, I'm going to write up in part of my book. This is another one of those crazy days. Oh, I'm telling you, it's just crazy February. Okay, and now I'm hitting admit all, and I'm not getting it on the computer. Then when I finally get here, I lost Anthony. Okay, when I get here this morning, I opened up the thing, had it all set up for the girls, and it shut down on me. It kept going, bye, 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 come back, bye, bye. And then finally just shut off and would come back on again. I'm like, I need to do some sage in this room here. Because there's something in here. Making it go crazy. Hi, Venetia.
Hi.
Hi, Athena.
Hello.
And Samantha, I got you too.
Hi.
Hi. Let me see, who else did I not? Okay. Jasmine. Yep, I think I got Elizabeth. There we go. So I'm sure your day was better than that. I think when I stay in bed, nothing usually happens. You know that? You come out of the house and I don't know what happens. The air just sends people nuts. We didn't even finish the first aid part of it, huh? Yesterday.
I don't know. Or,
I don't think so. I wrote the test when we reviewed test questions, so you will have those tomorrow.
okay.
Okay, just an FYI, they're like 20 questions. It'll be fine.
Will
And
you
it's
let
common
her
sense.
know?
Huh?
Whenever we go in the class and say we have a test, she has no idea what we're talking about. Will you let her know?
Yes, I will. I put one in her box, okay? I put one in the students, I put one in all the teachers, because they come to me and they're like, I'm supposed to have a test. I'm like, did you check your box in the teacher's room? You have to make copies, but I gave you the original.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But
So
yes,
which
I did do
test we
that.
will have tomorrow?
Excuse me?
Which test we will have tomorrow?
Chapter 1.
Chapter 1, okay.
Mhm. Even though I think we have to finish the bleeding wounds and all that kind of stuff today, right? The first aid?
I think so.
It's on page, let's see. Or wait, no, that's chapter 2, excuse me.
It is chapter 2.
We're on chapter 2. We did finish chapter 1, so sorry. So, oh, this is fun. I like chapter 2 because this one really gives me a chance to tell you all the gooey stuff that we should be paying attention to.
Yeah, we didn't do chapter 2 at all, I don't think.
That's where we're supposed to start today.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Let me just check my other screen here before I save it with save it with you. Hold on one second. Let that. Okay. There we go. Okay, it's logging itself down, I think. So some of you might have heard this question before because I asked this a lot. For the specific reason is that everyone seems to get the answer wrong. And then when they see it, they go, how does that doesn't make any sense. That question doesn't make any sense, but it actually does. So I'm going to read you a question and I'm going to give you 4 options, okay? So the question reads, what is the first level of infection control? And your options are going to be sanitation, disinfection, sterilization, and washing your hands. Okay, so anyone want to try and get that answer?
The first level being like the weakest level.
Yeah,
Sanitation?
Okay.
yes. Okay, it is, that's the answer, but most people get it wrong and they write washing their hands because washing your hands is exactly what we're doing for our sanitation, correct? But it's
Yeah.
not the act, that's the action of what we do. The question read, what was the first level?
Right.
Okay, so those of you that got sanitation got it right, but do you see how that gets confusing? The questions are written like that at boards, you really have to be, how they're written. Okay.
Well, washing your hands from parts of sanitation, right?
It is, and it's sanitation, but it's the action of the sanitation. The question read, what's the level, the first
Yeah.
level?
Yeah.
And remember you have level 1, level 2, level 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's why I wanted to make sure you guys understood that question. Okay, I'm going to call roll just to make sure I got everyone in here. Okay, Samantha, did I get you here? There you are. Okay, Elizabeth. I know I saw you. Elizabeth Russell. She hasn't got her sound up. I need your face too, though. Adriana?
Here.
There you go. Okay. Lena? Got you right there. Max?
I'm here.
I swear it's Mr. Thing, you know that thing from the Addams Family? Is that how we get a hand? Okay, Jocelyn?
Sorry.
Okay, Anthony, I got you. Jasmine H? Yep, that's you. Okay, Ava? There you are. Okay, Abby?
Here.
There we go. Okay, Anisha, I've got you. Athena? Hi. There you go. Can I see your face, hon?
No, I'm eating.
Know you're eating? Oh, that was good. All right, who else did I miss? Tatiana.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, and who else? Anybody that I didn't call? No? We're all in here? Okay. And I just need Elizabeth to show me her face. Elizabeth. I can't give you credit if you're not going to be in front of the screen. Because I know how easy that is. Let's just put my screen up.
I'm getting ready for the day.
Okay, well, let me see your face, hun. It's okay, we won't tell. Elizabeth?
I just got out of the shower.
Mm. Okay, you got 5 minutes, put some clothes on so I can see you. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen while I pull this up for you. Okay. Right. Okay, so this is microbiology, correct? You should see this, right? Okay. And I hope you guys do know that when we start chapters and things like that, that you're supposed to watch that video because I can't get the video to work for me. I don't know why. Maybe because I don't have a set of books in front of me. I don't know any other way. Okay. All right. So this first part is going to be on bacteria, right? That's your first, when it finally shows up. I'm going to give you this nasty analogy. So close your eyes so you can hear my story, okay? And let's just say you were in the restroom and there was more than two stalls in the restroom. Doesn't matter if it's girls or boys, okay? And the person in there is just making all kinds of noises, okay? So you know that they're having a little bit of difficulty in there. She gets up, or he gets up, walks right out the door, okay? Doesn't wash their hands. So you're thinking, oh my God, what's going on? Okay, so you kind of know who it is because you saw the shoes from underneath the stall there, right? So you just kind of follow them to see where they go. So what do? They go over to the snack machine and they put their money in and they put their little fingertips all over that snack machine to get their snack. And let's just say they're going to get those hot Cheetos. That'll work. All right, now they've gone picking them up, opening that little slide door. God knows who comes behind them and uses the machine, okay? Starts eating their Cheetos, and then there was this nice little powder that she just loves, or he loves. So they start sucking on their fingers to get all that nice hot Cheeto powder off their fingers. Are you not like doing this right about now? Because they didn't wash their hands, first of all, walked out there, decided to get into the snack machine, eat their snacks without their hands being washed, okay? And then started to suck on those fingers, okay? And it gets better. Then they decide to come to class and sit in my class and ask for a pencil. So I give them a pencil. Then they start chewing on that pencil because they're bored. So then they bring the pencil back up to me. And then it's like, no, you were hungry, you keep it, okay? I don't want that pencil anymore. But can you see pretty much the disgusting part of what happens when people do not wash their hands? Not only is it going to pass the germs around, but I've seen that exactly happen here at the school. Okay, no lie. Only the part about where they got to walk out the door, because I knew who it was, I was running with my pants like this, trying to get out the door, going, get back in there and wash your hands. But I like to tell this story because it's so important for us to wash our hands, especially right now with COVID. And if you think about that whole story, what would you be thinking if you saw that whole thing and then they wanted to go to lunch with you? Let's share our lunch today. No. How about if they had a potluck? Would you want to be eating anything from their home because you don't know what they just did, right? So that's what scares me about a potluck nowadays. It's just like, you don't know. Okay, people drop things on the floor. Oh, throw it back in because it'll cook. Germs are gone. No, not really. So we all know how important it is to wash our hands, if nothing else, correct? Sanitize them, do something to them so that they don't have the previous stuff on them. Okay, so I always like to start that off so that you guys understand the difference, like what's going on. And now I guess you're going to be paying more attention to when people are standing next to you and handing you this. Or how about when they're making a sandwich at the sandwich shop and they're putting on gloves and then they take your money from you. And then they make another sandwich. You're like, could you take those gloves off and put on a fresh pair? I've learned that myself just watching all the stuff that's been going on for the last year. I demand it now, don't you? Like you see them do something and you're like, ew, go wash your hands, go put a pair of gloves on, do something, but don't serve me my food like that. Okay, I think a lot of people stayed at home and ate. I don't care what anybody said. I'm eating at home because I know that I didn't do anything to my food before I got it. And not only that, I had gotten food poisoning just right after this whole incident started. And let me tell you, if you've ever had it, it is the worst feeling, the worst. And when I finally felt better, I went back to the store because it was at Safeway, and I'm like, you need to take care of that meat in the back, okay? Because I kind of asked her, but you need to be aware of what you're eating too, because if you get sick, you're going to have to kind of backtrack what you ate that day. You know what I mean? And it all comes down to sanitation and disinfection. So there's my little story. All right, I'm going to share that screen with you again. Okay, and we're going to fill in the microbiology where it says bacteria. All right, well, microbiology is the study of small organisms. Micro means small, bio means living, ology means study. Okay, and it's basically important for us in preventing the spread of disease when within the salon. They're going to ask you a question at board. What is the study of microbes? Okay, what is the study of bacteria? So you need to know what they're trying to do because they sound similar as far as they're, getting rid of the small living organisms. But if they ask about bacteria, it's going to be the study of bacteriology. Okay, if it says microbes, it's going to be the study of microbiology. All right, and they do use both those words interchangeably just to see if you're going to put the right answer in. Okay, so just know that. All right, I'm going to move this down. So it should have bacteria right here. Okay, you have one-celled microorganisms, sometimes called germs or microbes. So that's going to go on page 38 in your study guide. Okay, and you also have two little bubbles there, right? You have a non-pathogenic and a pathogenic. Non-pathogenic means non-disease producing bacteria. And I just remember non being no, it won't hurt me. Okay, if you can't remember those. Pathogenic now is going to be disease producing bacteria. So let's go over to the non-pathogenic. You've gotten this bacteria on your paper, right? Let me see if it gives us these little what fors underneath it. Okay, here we go. Non-pathogenic, okay, do not produce disease, they're harmless, okay, and they can be beneficial. So what I want you to write in those four little bubbles that you have inside the bubble, right, the little dots, the first one should say harmless, okay. The second one should say cause decay of refuse, R-E-F-U-S-E. The third one is going to be sapphirites, and that's spelled right there. Sapphirites are non-pathogenic bacteria that live on dead matter and do not produce disease, but you're going to write in there, sapphirites live on dead matter. The way to remember sapphirites is this. They actually have the sap knocked out of them, so they can't cause any disease, okay? And then the next one you have on here is 70% of all bacteria is non-pathogenic. That is a test question at board and here, okay? Sometimes we need that bacteria to help us. It's called the good bacteria. Okay. Saprophytes are also going to be known as, what's another name for non-pathogenic bacteria? That's the test question, okay? Just an FYI. I don't know about you, but when my teacher would tell me that, I'd put little stars next to it just in case, because I know that I'm gonna have to study for board on that one. So again, I'm gonna go through those little dots. You have harmless, causes decay of refuse, saprophytes live on dead matter, and 70% of all bacteria, okay, is non-pathogenic. Okay, do I need to leave any more on the screen? Anybody still writing? Is it, oh, there we go.
Could you repeat the, I think it's the third one, cause decay refuse?
Okay, that's the second one, causes decay, D-E-C-A-Y, of refuse. R-E-F-U-S-E. Hold on one second. Sorry there, drop that pencil, sanitize. Okay, the third one was saprophytes live on dead matter. Is that the one you wanted, hon?
No, that's fine. It was the second
Okay.
one. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna turn the page then. Maybe not. Okay, there we go. And it should go into pathogenic bacteria, okay? This is kind of nice. All right, these are your bullets, okay? So the first bullet is going to be, they live everywhere, okay? The second one is that they cause infection and disease. The third one is they spread easily. And the fourth one is they have distinct shapes, which means when your doctor takes a culture, okay, he can basically tell you what type of bacteria is in your body by allowing it to, you know, take that culture and let it grow into a petri dish. So when he's looking for that, he's going to be looking for either a circular shape or a bar shape or, you know, corkscrew base. Any one of those is going to tell him what type of bacteria you have in your body. Okay. So if you've got all 5 of those, 4 of those up there, and it says 5, huh? Spreads easily. It should have been O. Some produce toxins. That can actually go where it says causes infection and disease if you need to, unless you have 5 little bullets inside that bubble. Do some of you have 5 bullets? No?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. So can I move to the next part of this? All right. So this next part, we're going to break down the shapes. Okay. Someone's got their mic on besides me. All right. It's actually going to give you the shapes, what they look like. Okay. So there's 3 shapes. All right. Cocci, bacilli, and spirilla. Okay. So right next to cocci, you're going to write round shaped cells. Okay. Within the cocci bacteria, it has 3 subsections, okay, which actually go through staphylococci, streptococci, and diplococci. Okay, so I'm going to go through staphylococci. You're going to put in there, it is pus forming, and it's found in boils. Okay, they kind of grow in bunches. Okay, streptococci, okay, on the next word is pus forming, but it causes strep throat. And that's actually the test question. So you can't get confused between strep and staph. All right. So pus forming and cause strep throat. They actually are formed like a chain of pearls, I guess you could say. That's what they look like. So if you get that streptococci, It kind of looks those little balls in the back of your throat when your throat sore. Okay. Now go to Diplocoxy on your book, and these grow in pairs because the word dip actually means double. Okay, and it can cause pneumonia. Okay, so out of all three of these, because if you look at, they all have the ending COCCI, you will know that all of those are going to be circular or round. Okay, then you're going to come down to bacilli. Okay, and it is rod shaped. What I want you to write in there, underline it, where it says the most common form of bacteria, basically, because it causes a fever. So to remember this, put in brackets, hot rod. Hot means the fever, for you to remember that, okay? And the rod is the shape of that bacteria. Okay. So that's why when we are bringing you into the back and taking your temperature, do you have a temperature? Okay, we're gonna know what type of bacteria you have or that you're carrying. Can't give you an exact thing, but we can tell you you've got some type of bacteria if you've got a fever. All right. Okay, your spirilla, okay, is going to be a spiral or a corkscrew shape. All right. It can cause highly contagious diseases such as syphilis, Lyme disease, and cholera. This is like going from one extreme to the next. Okay, let me tell you. Syphilis is a venereal disease, okay? Lyme disease is when you're out getting maybe a tick, right? And cholera basically means a really bad form of dehydration, okay, in the body. So it does go from one extreme to the next. Do you see that? Really bad, okay? So spirilla, it kind of looks like spiral, so you'll know that it's kind of like a spiral shape, okay? So your shapes are going to be round, like a bar, okay, or a rod, and then spirilla, which is your corkscrew. Okay, if you turn your page, okay, page 39 in your study guide, it has a little activity, right? Okay, that activity says, my name is Curly. I have very coiled and curvy. What's my name? Can you give me the name? Yes.
Spirilla.
Spirilla, good. Okay, my next one is, my name is Phil. I hang out with a bunch of guys and sometimes we boil up lots of trouble.
It's Staphylococcus.
Yep, Staphylococcus, correct. Okay, then it says, my name is Pearl. I come from a long chain of hot oysters. So hot, we bring a fever.
Streptococcus.
Okay, that one's Streptococcus, correct. Okay, our names are Arnold and Danny. We're a pair. And when we're around everyone, starts coughing.
Diplococcus.
Diplococcus, yeah. Okay, my name is Rodney. I'm a tough guy with lots of muscle. I have the power to lock your jaw. And we didn't talk about that. That's bacilli, believe it or not.
Bacilli.
So
Bacilli.
where it says it causes pneumonia, or excuse me, it causes fevers, I want you to put in there that it also causes lockjaw. Okay. All right. Any questions so far on what we've covered? No? Okay. Turn to page 40. Okay, and we're going to go into the active stage and inactive stage. Because bacteria grows into stages. Somebody's mic's on. All right. So in your active, sure. Okay, in your active stage, okay, this is where it can reproduce and grow rapidly. So in your little bubble, I guess you could say on that side, the first one is going to say grow rapidly. That's all you have to put in there, okay? The second one, you're going to write dark, damp, and dirty, okay? And the third one is going to be creates two cells. And I'm going to ask you to add one more dot in there. Once you get that in there, it creates 2 cells. In brackets, I want you to write mitosis, because when it splits, it grows new cells, right? All right, you're going to put in there 16 million in 12 hours, okay? What that means is this: I can take 2 bacterial cells, okay, and I can grow 16 million of them in 12 hours. So they just multiply and multiply and multiply. So if you haven't cleaned something, you can spread that even further. Here's another little joke that I used to do with my son. He'd want to go out on a Friday night in high school, and I'd say, clean the bathroom. Well, he thought, oh, mom just wanted to smell that Pine Sol or whatever, so it smelled clean. So he just wiped the counters down. I had a Woods lamp at home, which is a black light. And I went into the bathroom and I shut off the lights and turned on the black light. Every ring that he didn't clean just like glowed in the dark. He's looking at me going, whose mother does this? I go, yours. Now get in there and clean that bathroom right. I go, because that bacteria is growing. So he had to listen not only to this speech right here, but he had to listen to me telling him exactly what he was doing wrong. So it's kind of creepy. I sometimes take the estheticians to the laundry room so that they can see the same exact thing, because you think your washers and dryers are clean, but if somebody left a ring, left something on the dryer and it left a spot, even if you wipe it off, it will still show that spot because it wasn't properly cleaned. So it's kind of weird how that works. Okay, in your inactive stage, the first bubble is the conditions are unfavorable, so there's no growth. Okay, that's what you're going to put in there. Conditions unfavorable, and there's no growth. All right, your second little bubble in there, you're going to write, they form spores that are not hurt by disinfectants, cold, or heat. Does anybody know what a spore is? Okay, a spore is a bacteria that's protected itself, okay? So what happens is when it's in the inactive stage, and I'm going to use like a tumbleweed, for example. There's a lot of bacteria on this tumbleweed because it's dark, damp, and dirty, and then it gets blown down the street and now it's dry. Well, the bacteria doesn't want to die, so it protects itself with like a little bubble, an imaginary bubble. All right, and that's the spore that it's talking about. It covers it up, and then the tumbleweed gets pushed halfway down the street again, and it's all of that damp, dirty stuff's coming back, and so it pops its bubble and it continues to grow. So that's basically what it is. Another example to help you remember it is clients that have head lice, okay? When they do a treatment on them, or when we do a treatment, whoever does it, okay? They get rid of the ones that are running around on their scalp, right? But they don't get rid of the ones with the nits unless they take a comb to it, correct? Because you can take your fingernail and run it right down one strand of hair. And if it's a nit, it will not come off with your fingernail. Okay. Think of the spores as being that little nit, okay? Because the disinfectant or whatever chemical you were using to get the ones crawling on her face, her head off, it did not kill the ones that are inside that. So it has a protective coating in there. And the only way to get those little tiny nits out is with that tiny fine comb or with your fingernails, right? So that's basically what they're talking about as far as a spore. They can't be killed with disinfectant. They can't be killed when it's too cold. They can't be killed when it's too hot. Okay, so there is a question at board that asks you about a spore. So since our industry, we only do disinfection and sanitation, correct? Because we don't do sterilization. In our industry of cosmetology, it's just disinfection, sanitation. So our disinfectants cannot kill a spore, okay? It can't. The only way that's going to be killed is through sterilization. All right. So the main question is going to be, can it be killed by the disinfectant? All right. Your third one is going to be when conditions become favorable again, they're going to grow. Okay. Or they'll become active, just like I was talking about that tumbleweed. So it starts from a dirty area. It moves down and it gets dry, and now it's not growing its bacteria. It's got its little spore on there, and then it gets pushed down a little bit further, and then it's going back into that active stage because it's dirty and damp again. So do you guys understand what that spore is? The question on board will read, can we kill a spore in our industry, in the cosmetology field? No, we cannot, because our disinfectants do not do that. Okay. I'm looking around. Does anybody have any questions about what I just said? I know sometimes you have to listen to my stories. Okay. Can I turn my page yet? Yeah, okay. You need it, you're gonna have to speak up. All right, this next part should be the movement of bacteria. And I tell the girls all the time, this sounds like a nursery rhyme, just to help you remember it. In fact, a Dr. Seuss nursery rhyme. Okay, bacteria gets moved like through these little like hair-like projections. You have them in your nose, okay? That it kind of filters out the bacteria. But what I want you to write next to the movement of bacteria is this. Bacilli and spirilla use hair-like projections called flagella. So I don't want you to write it like it is on the page. I want you to write it so you can remember it the way I'm reading it to you. Bacilli and spirilla have hair-like projections called flagella. Doesn't it sound like a nursery rhyme from Dr. Seuss? Green eggs and ham. Okay, that flagella is basically cilia, what's known as eyelash hair, but you have that same type of hair inside your nose when you're breathing, okay? So if you remember it the way I said it, you won't forget what flagella is. Okay, so there's only two forms of bacteria that actually this works on, okay? Bacilli and spirilla. All right. Do you want me to repeat it one more time just to make sure everyone got that? Bacilli and spirilla have hair-like projections called flagella. Okay, you guys are going to be so smart on this test, you watch. All right, I'm going to turn the page here, and it should go into viruses. Here we go. That's another test question. Viruses are smaller than bacteria, and that is the test question right there. They are submicroscopic particles, but all you need to put in there is they are smaller than bacteria. Okay. They can cause the cold, they can cause measles, they can cause hepatitis, even HIV. Okay. So viruses are a lot smaller than your bacteria. Okay. And it's got HBV in there. Do you know what HBV is? No one?
It's human hepatitis B virus.
Yes, that's what it is. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me see if it changes this page. Hold on one second. It goes into this. There it does. Okay. Because right below, I don't know if there's an area, it's still within that virus area on your study guide. Okay. And you're going to put in there HBV stands for human hepatitis B, which affects the liver, and inoculations are recommended for what they call PSWs, which are known as public service workers, which we are. We work with the public. Okay. So HBV is human hepatitis B. It affects the liver, very infectious. Okay. And you'll need an inoculation or a shot, okay, to protect you from the general public. Okay, because sometimes your clients aren't going to come in and say, hey, I have hepatitis. You might want to, back up, or you might not want to cut me, or you want, all these little things. They're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you they have AIDS. So you want to, this whole thing about protecting the client, it's protecting you first, because they're not going to come forward and say they have a disease. So you have to assume that everybody has an infection and you're trying to protect yourself. Okay, that whole thing works in that same category. You first, then them. All right. One more thing, you're going to put where it says acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, which is AIDS. This goes above the external parasites in your study guide. HIV and AIDS will affect the natural immunity and can be spread through bodily fluids from an infected individual. Now, this can be absorbed in the blood. It can be absorbed into saliva. So no more being your blood cousins or your blood friends nowadays. All right. And people will say, oh, that they died from AIDS. They really don't die from AIDS because that's the virus. They usually die from something else because their body immune system has been broken down so badly that they catch other diseases. Okay, I worked in a time when it first came out and where they knew nothing about it. And they were having all of these false, assumptions. So it was a very strange period of time. People didn't want to work on people that they thought might have it. Okay, it was sad, very sad. Okay, does anyone need what's left on that screen right now? Are you still writing?
Yes.
No? Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
I
looking
still need it for a second.
Okay, I'll give you a minute, hon. If you ever want to watch a movie that really explains what happens during the HIV epidemic when it first came out, it's called And the Band Played On, and it has quite a few actors in there. Phil Collins is in it. Lily Tomlin's in it. There's just tons of people in there. And they're discussing the time when Reagan was in office. And he never once, the entire time he was in office, acknowledged AIDS. Never once said anything about it. And they were in the major form of an epidemic at that time. Because they were thinking it was caused from bathhouses and it was only, for certain types of people. And it was sad. It was really sad. But again, we just want to protect ourselves, no matter what it is. Look at COVID now, okay?
I'm good now.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go down to external parasites and parasitic mites. So external parasites are organisms that live on or obtain nutrients from other organisms, usually called a host. And I always tell people, I'm like, you all have that one friend that just sucks the life out of you. You love her dearly or love him dearly, but boy, when they're around you, they're like draining to you. Okay. Well, that's what a parasite does. He pulls everything from that host, which would be you. Okay. Takes all the good stuff from you and then just leaves you drained. So in your parasitic fungi, okay, that's in your circle. All right. You're going to write in there that it includes molds and yeasts. It produces contagious diseases like ringworm or honeycomb ringworm and nail funguses. And it can also produce non-contagious diseases such as dandruff. So when you go through your hair disorders, skin diseases and stuff like that, the word pityriasis basically means dandruff, okay? And there's like 4 or 5 different types that you can get. One being contagious, one not being contagious. Okay, that honeycomb one, it has a bad odor. So fungi is a mold or yeast. In your parasitic mites, now that's going to go in your little circle, okay? These are insects that produce contagious diseases such as itch mite and head lice. And you wouldn't believe how many students have had itch mites here for forever. They didn't know what it was. It's also known as scabies, but they'll come in and they're like, I've got this like rash or something on my stomach. Can you take a look at it? I'm like, okay. Meantime, I'm backing up just a little bit. They look like little red dots because the little suckers in there, they bite at your inside of your skin. So it leaves like a red drop of blood left on it. But they like the stomach, they like the back, but it can grow anywhere. So the same thing as far as cleanup, like you would for head lice, even though you have to do the hair and the body on that one. On the scabies, you have to apply a lotion and let that sit on the body for almost 12 hours all over. But linens have to be washed, okay? Brushes, everything that you've used within that time frame, you know, has to be washed. So when people get either one of these, it's a job to clean it up. It's not easy. Okay, if you've ever had to fight it because a friend of yours had it, or a cousin, or a little, you know, your daughter or whatever, it takes forever. It's taking all this cleaning products to do it, you know, flea powder in the carpets and making sure you get it, the toys, stuffed animals, all bagged up in a bag so there's no air inside there. It needs to stay in there for seven days. I'm going to give you a little trick about this head lice. You're going to have clients that do not know how they got it. It doesn't really matter how they got it. They want to get rid of it, okay? And you don't want to embarrass them. So you can take them to the side, you know, and let them know how to take care of it. They will read that box, and let me tell you, every person I've ever talked to about this, they'll read the box and it says shampoo or apply this to the scalp and leave it on for a certain amount of time and then rinse it. They don't read any further than that. They don't read the part where they're supposed to comb with that metal or fine tooth comb to get the nits out, take very small partings. Because the mothers will always say, her hair was too long, didn't want to do it. She's okay. Okay, but she didn't get the nits. And I said, it also says to repeat this procedure in 7 days. You want to know why? Because the nits hatch within that 7 days. And so she's going to be reinfested with it on her scalp now. These are the ones that are moving around. Okay, and it's funny because they'll come back and go, you know, she went to her cousins again and got it all over again. I'm like, probably not, because the instructions were not read properly. Okay, so you might have to tell your client she does need to redo this treatment in 7 days. Okay, she needs to get rid of those nits, no matter how long it takes to comb through that long hair with that fine tooth comb to get it off. She's still going to need it to do another treatment in 7 days. And believe it or not, because you handled the situation with compassion, she's not going to be that upset with you, okay? But make sure that they understand what they have to do. Because the pharmacist is just going to tell them, yeah, put it on, shampoo it out. I've heard every story on that one. And people that I have had to tell, they were like, you know, you were the nicest person, you didn't make me feel really bad. Because people can get it. It doesn't matter, you know, whether you're rich, poor, dirty, clean. It doesn't have a character to it. It just goes after where it needs to go. Okay, so you want to prevent the spread of contagious fungi, bacteria, and mites through the proper disinfection procedures. So if a client comes in, you know, we all have you remove your jackets, go back there and wash and disinfect your area where you have been working, your station, something that it might touch, anything. Okay. I've had another client that came in and had it, and it's her granddaughter, and she wanted to get her hair done. So she told her granddaughter to sit out in the front. I said, she can't stay out here, because as a child, she wants to move around, you know, so she's standing on that little lobby chair that was out there, and she's moving around, her head's like wiping on the sides of this chair. All I'm thinking is, I got to disinfect everything over there. So I kind of said, I can do your hair when you take her home, you come back. I said, but she can't stay in the lobby waiting for you, because she's, you know, endangering everybody in the school at that point. So hopefully you will go through this particular part of disinfecting an area once you've had someone that had a head lice, so that you know how to properly disinfect also when a client does come in. Of course, you're going to ask your teacher, you're like, can you come and check this, because I think she has head lice. All right. I've had a student tell me one time that a client did, and they were perming her. Okay, they got halfway through the wrap, and she's like, she has head lice. And I walked over, I checked the scalp, and there was nothing there. And I'm like, She goes, no, Miss Janie, there are bugs there. I saw them. And I go, okay. She goes, I saved them. And I went, what? She goes, I saved them. She had gone, got a paper towel and picked them up out of the drain, right? And she wrapped them up, and she was going to show me. So then I was like, okay. And I waited for her to show me. I go, well, first of all, they're not going to be in a paper towel. I go, but fleas do rinse off when they get water on them. Okay, so you might want to ask the client if she has animals, and if she's an animal lover, she usually has her animals on her sofa, and if she's laying down on that sofa, you know, she's going to get those fleas also. Okay, but that's not something that you have to worry about as far as catching it. Okay, it's not like head lice. All right, they gotta find something to attach to. But she was so nervous and I'm like, it's okay. She was at least being aware, right? All right, I think that is it on this. It's just review now. Oh, maybe it's gonna go through your head lice. Transmitted again from one person to another. Okay. It's accompanied by scratching, redness, or small bite marks. You're gonna look behind the ear, okay, or in the nape area. Okay, it's controlled by a pediculocide. Uh-oh. Are you guys there? There goes my computer again. Hang on, can you guys see me?
Yes.
Not hearing any. Okay, because I can't see anybody right now. There it goes. Sorry. This is what it was doing earlier. Okay, can you still see me?
Yes.
You're seeing me like laugh, huh? Because I'm like looking at this. All right, stop already. I don't know what it's doing. Let's see if it'll stop. No. Well, okay. By the time I get through logging this back on, as long as you can see me, right?
Yeah.
No, no one's answering me. By the time I log it off and turn it back on, is it still blinking on your end, like flashing? No,
It's not flashing.
it's annoying, isn't it? Stop. All right, I'm gonna try and log off. Is everybody's sound off on their computer?
Yes.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna log off and come back in, okay, you guys? So just bear with me. It's like, okay, stop. I do not know what happens to this thing. Trying to get it to stop the share, maybe that might help. Okay, come on. Nope, that's not doing it either. Can you hear me now at all?
Yes, we could hear you and we can see you.
I'm so sorry. Okay, is it still flashing in front of you?
And it was never flashing on my end.
It wasn't? It's just on
No.
mine.
No, we just see you.
All right. It's 10 minutes till. By the time I log off and log back in, it'll be 5 minutes till. So does anyone have any questions while I'm trying to figure out what's going on? What? Okay, are you guys still there with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna log off for today. All right, and I'll give you credit for the hour. Thank you, and I'm sorry. All right, and I'll see you tomorrow, some of you tomorrow, and I'll make sure you have your test, okay?
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, hon.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it comes back on. Bye-bye, hon.